Are these still too quiet?
That one felt slower than the last one.
Well, this is 81 beats per minute because this is episode 81.
81 felt slower than 80.
That's weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
This is Two Tunes Podcast. I'm Bo.
Welcome to Le Podcast, as they say in French. Do you know how they say it in Spanish?
Welcome to El
Podcast.
Okay. All right, man. It's July.
Doing?
It's a hot summer, right?
Hot summer day.
What have you been doing this summer?
Living my best life. What date is this coming out?
July 19th.
So at this point, I'll be in the midst of Tech Week for The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. I'll be doing play stuff for Puffs.
Nice. Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy.
Puff Daddy the musical. It's all songs by Mace, weirdly enough.
And Biggie.
No, just Mace.
Just Mace.
Yeah, his music was cheap, probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. He needed the cash.
Yeah.
So we talk about two tunes.
Two tunos. Am I first this week?
Yes, you are. I think you have to think about it, though.
Yeah. I'm going to say Leith. Is how you pronounce their name?
Leith.
Yeah. Ross.
Lace Roth.
No, thank you. So I just pulled up their bio here. It looks like they use they them pronouns, so we will do our best to continue to use that. It says Leith Ross is also I really apologize if it's Leith or something else. Leith just makes sense.
That's why you got to go to other interviews.
True.
And
but anyway, they are a singer-songwriter and artist born and raised in a small town outside of Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Started writing songs around the age of 12. They look pretty young, so I'm assuming that was, maybe 10 years ago or less. It says recorded and released 2 projects and have a new one underway. Inspired by the likes of Lucinda Williams, Dolly Parton, Disney movie soundtracks, High School Musical, and their dad's horrible parodies of all of the above. Their songs attempt to explore themes of gut-wrenching and cheesy love, silliness, and extreme existentialism. As of recording, they have a new song out called "We'll Never Have Sex."
So I went to their main website.
Yes.
And I scrolled all the way down, and it says, "Thank you for the following funders for their support: Ontario Arts Council and the Canadian Council for the Arts."
Imagine living in a country that supports artists.
I mean, they
actually supports them.
I mean, sometimes they do, but only as what Sungazer did it.
Oh, that
it's public. What is it called when you support money overseas? Something relations, foreign relations.
Foreign relations, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a way of foreign relations. It's see, we're not all bad.
Yeah.
Where this is just hey, you're a citizen, we're going to help you out.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing, too. They would have had to apply for this.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
I've heard of other artists where they apply for things. It doesn't always happen. But our country doesn't even really even have that available, really. So.
Welcome to the Hate America Hour.
Yeah.
Which next year we'll have on the 4th of July.
Cool. So, yeah, I don't know where I found this song. It's been on my list, my Two Tunes Podcast songs list for a while. But I like it. It's really interesting as far as the perspective and the lyrical content stuff.
I like the inspired by likes of Lucinda Williams, Dolly Parton, Disney movie soundtracks, High School Musical, and their dad's horrible parodies.
I just read that.
Did you?
Yes, you don't pay attention ever.
Remember how we were talking about how we don't remember?
Yeah, I don't remember things, but you don't pay attention. So yes,
but no one paid attention. I'm just reiterating.
No, they really did.
Still is.
They really did. Anyway, play the song, which is called.
I'd have to think about it.
Look, you're looking at it.
You really wanted to set that joke up. It's really called "I'd Have to Think About It."
Mm-hmm.
I know that I will love again. I'll meet someone and we'll make amends.
If you want to go see them on September 21st and 22nd at Baby's All Right in Brooklyn, New York. Or Shuba's in Chicago, Illinois on the 19th.
See the world and pay my bills.
or the Troubadour in West Hollywood on September 15th.
Okay.
For all our West Coast people and big city listeners.
In my home with my 3 kids.
This line,
You asked me to leave.
Yeah, didn't make sense because
no, it makes sense, but it's like if you shut up and I've got 3 kids and you're like, hey, like run away with me. It's like, think about it.
You never loved the same amount.
Just that, like, not even necessarily. Well, there's they mentioned about like not loving the same amount, but it's a little bit like maybe unrequited love or just the one that got away kind of thing. But like that, you still hold that person like really heavily in your heart, and like even though you've got all these other relationships and maybe you end up really happy and married and whatever, if that person's comes to me and said, I want you to come away and I love you, I have to think about it, which is crazy in some ways, but
only I can feel. I've been a liar and you've been a pill, but I still have to think about it.
I like that it slows down there.
Just won't be the same.
You don't have to play with the click, guys. It doesn't have to be perfectly in time. You're human.
yeah.
Be human.
Still, there's not a thing that I'd change, and that's okay when I think about it.
Short, sweet, to the point.
Yes, it is short and sweet and to the
Yeah.
point.
But yeah, lyrically and stuff, I really connected with it. I was like, yeah, there's I think a couple people in my life that would be I could sing this song to or play this song about. I think. Yeah. Anyway,
Cool.
that's all.
So, like,
I want to listen to more of their music.
very cool. So, I've been getting into Midwest emo music from the early 2000s and adjacent math rocky, art rocky, progressive rocky, frogcore type people. So, Yvette Young, amazing guitar player, super good, plays
Yeah.
in her own unique style. You got to watch her live because, like, it doesn't look like normal guitar playing. She doesn't use a pick because she's constantly finger picking and tapping. And her classically trained since like she was piano since she was 4, moved on to violin at 7, has a bachelor's of fine arts degree, so like super artsy. Taught herself guitar, but like thinks about it kind of piano wise and believes that the guitar is not the best instrument, even though she's a guitar player. Like, which theory, music theory, guitar is stupid. Like, you can't visualize things on the guitar because if you have a 24 fret guitar, you can play the E on the first string on all 6 strings, that same note on all 6 strings. So it's like, well, which one? Well, the one that's comfortable at this point,
Right.
where a piano is so much better. It's linear versus it's the others like, well, there's 6.
It's like 3D chess.
Exactly.
Like 6D chess, yeah.
Yeah.
That's even like, you know, I have guitar players come in jazz band and stuff that have, you know, usually probably learned rock or just learned chords in general and whatever. And it's like, no, you got to think about voice leading and stuff. But on a piano, that's more simple. It's like just kind of hover around middle C
Yeah.
and move up and down when you need to, but mostly just kind of hang around there.
Yeah.
But like middle C on the guitar, like you said, can be found multiple places. And so like, you know,
Well, do you want me to
or
transpose
quote unquote
it?
middle C, you know what I mean? Like, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just like
Because you could probably get that
voice
on,
a chord.
on 4 or 5 strings.
Yeah, you can voice a chord several different ways, you know, and whatever. But it's like you got to think about getting the other spots. But yeah, it's not. It's logical in its way, but not necessarily in relation to other things.
Like your cowboy chords are kind of the way that you're thinking of, like, oh, we'll just stick around here, voice leading. But if you want the chord to sound full, you kind of have to do other things.
Yeah. Well, and plus alternate tunings and things like you talked about.
Yeah, speaking
a
of
couple weeks ago, I'm assuming she's got.
this is. Well, I don't know if this specific. Well, actually, I do. I think this song is in an alternate tuning, but she. So another reason that I found her was that she plays an Ibanez Talman, which is not my favorite guitar, but it's like I dig it because like it's hard to get.
Okay.
Like, or at least in the States, it's hard to get. So an Ibanez Talman, no one can see this except for Brandon here. This is an Ibanez Talman.
Whoa, it's a guitar.
It's Ibanez, which is usually like Strats and like metal guitars.
Yeah.
But this kind of this guitar has a 60s offset, which means the waist of it is tilted, not parallel or perpendicular to the center of the guitar. Yeah. It's offset. So she has those. Like the only people who Yamaha, Ibanez has two signature models of this. One is Yvette Young's and the other is Noodle from The Offspring. I don't know if you can actually get Noodle's version, but it's duct taped. Like that is the look of it. And then hers is the Strat version. So Strat is like 3 single coil pickups. The configuration of pickups, there's a Strat version and there's a Tele version. The Strat version is slime green sparkle. So it's super bright green, almost like a yellow, neon green. And then the other is like a orange crush, orange cream sparkle as well. And that's the Tele version. But these are hard to come by. Like the 3 that I have, I got on eBay. I'm just like, I want one, and I bought one, and then I'm like, okay, this is my guitar, and I bought another one, and they were like $200-$300 when I bought them in the early 2000s, and now online they're like $800, and like they're not. I'm betting the newer ones, the Yvette Young signature versions, are a lot better quality.
Yeah.
But that's how I found her. And her tuning. So when you buy her guitars, the tuning is going from the lowest string to the highest string is FAC GBE.
Oh, interesting.
Where a standard guitar is EAD GBE. So she's tuning up the low E string. She's tuning down the D string.
Yeah.
But she has also basically said that because she doesn't think of it as the guitar, like a guitar. She's not writing songs on a guitar. She's writing songs in her head, and then she's translating them to a guitar. So she's like, you know what? It'd be easier if this string was lowered down a half step. So she would lower it down a half step. Or it's like, you know what? Even this. So sometimes like she even has like an album might have like 7 different tunings. So it's like, because that's what the ease of playing is. So. Right. Yeah. Where it would be really easy on a piano because it's like, well, this is what you can do.
Yeah.
Versus the guitar, where it's like, so
it's almost like old school horns would have to change
slides
things out, so they could be in certain keys, or old bassoons or whatever would change like the vocals and different stuff, like to get different keys and different whatever, so different tunings. Yeah, it's interesting.
This is a really long song.
It is. I was surprised you picked such a long song. It's 7 minutes. It's not crazy long.
I was surprised too, because like I knew the song, and I'm like, this is cool. This is a song. Because I didn't want like another instrumental, because Covet is her band that she has. This is earlier stuff. So this came out in 2014, and like the 2015 is when like the EPs of Covet happened, and then that's what she's doing mostly now. She has a couple singles as herself, but this is Acoustics EP, so it's just her, and she's also singing on this. So she sings, she's playing guitar, but she plays a whole bunch. This song's called A Map, a String, a Light. Math rock type.
Yeah.
And the stereo spread, I think, is really cool because I think it's like it may be 2 microphones on, but the main is on the left. Like maybe the body of the guitar is there, and then like it's more finger noise.
Yeah.
On the right.
Almost like you're looking at her playing guitar.
Exactly.
Yeah. Only song I listen to by her.
Yeah.
The lyrics and singing all kind of like this.
Sometimes she doesn't really sing that often.
Okay, because what it almost more seems like. So, and now I'm drawing this parallel to what you were saying before. So you're saying she's not necessarily thinking like, I'm writing these guitar songs. It's just I'm writing songs and my medium is guitar. Mm-hmm. Which is also kind of like, if you're familiar with the name Stan Kenton, big band leader, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. Eventually he started writing essentially like symphonic music.
Yeah.
But was using the big band as the medium.
Okay.
In a way. But that's a separate parallel. The parallel I'm drawing here is with her. I feel like she's a poet.
Okay.
And she's just using song as the medium to deliver the poetry.
Okay.
Because
So for lyrics.
For the lyrics, at least of this song, because it's I don't know that speaking them would work. I think they do need to be sung, or maybe they would work spoken. But like just the delivery of them and like the sparseness of them and like it's all these like little lines.
Yes.
And then things are repeated a whole bunch. Where almost something the way you would if she just wrote it down.
Yeah.
That could work or whatever. But like yeah, so that was kind of my thought on that of like not that she's not a songwriter and from like a singer perspective, but it sounds more just like sung poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago we listened to TTNG.
Yeah.
If you listen to TTNG and their lyrics, they're very much like poetry. Similar type thing. I also think that this album isn't like super produced. I think she may be just like, I'm singing this and playing this live.
Yeah.
Because right now
like the vocals could maybe use with some more production or something or not.
I think it's her just playing it and then it's like, hey, like the guitar, like it might be like 3 microphones and her playing it.
Yeah,
and that's
2 on the guitar, 1 on her voice. Yeah, it's good. It's really interesting. But again, it was just a thought I had earlier as I was listening to it.
But TTNG is an influence of hers, so that's kind of like where I'm like,
can see that.
So she's probably inspired by these bands that like, yeah, there's not really a chorus; it's just poetry, and it's you're supposed to. It's more of a visual thing. Mm-hmm. Like this music is the soundtrack to something that like picture that in your head. Mm-hmm. So going back even to 2 weeks ago when we talked about like names,
she wants you to
have a visual,
have a vision, yeah,
and
it's
be
programmatic
like,
music,
yes,
yeah.
I do think that this could have been like 2 songs, or maybe it is 3 songs. Maybe one song's called a map, one song's called a string, and the other song's called a light. Yeah. So on this EP, there's like 4 songs, and I think 2 of them are that like this.
Okay.
Take me home. Siren song.
And yeah, a lot of repetition of lyrical things. A lot of space.
Take me home where the storm.
But this is the first thing. This is like the first. And I'm wrong as far as like, because this is obviously an overdub. If it's. Because now it's on electric guitar. And there's more than one guitar.
Yeah.
Where this is a light. Maybe. Possibly. Where those siren songs was a string. Could be. But it all kind of fits together. It's still kind of the same chord progression, same key.
Yeah.
And like she knows theory, but she doesn't really like to think about it when she's writing.
Yeah.
Because like she's said that like, oh, she writes some things and then she'll send it off to the other two musicians, the bass player and the drummer, and she'll be like, I don't know, it's in 4/4 maybe, I don't know. And then the drummer will be like, this ain't in 4/4. And it's like, okay. But I don't think that really matters, because I was writing something and I wrote this chord progression and I'm like, it's in 6, but like I would put like in Logic I put drums at like programmed drums under it, and like the 6/8 didn't really like, I couldn't figure out a good drum part for that, so I just had the thing, I kept changing it from like, okay, well maybe if I put it in 3/4, maybe if I put it in 2/4, maybe if I put it in 4/4, and like each one changed how the whole song felt.
Right.
So it's like, well, it could be in whatever you want.
Because it's more like 3 and 2 and 4 and 6 and whatever. Like
yes.
Sometimes it's yeah, I get that.
And this is the opening track of this EP.
This one, like the TTNG song too, I would say I could put on while I'm doing work or someone else's, you know.
Because it doesn't draw your attention as much
and it's
as
so
like
consistent of like the finger picking stuff and
So this is probably one of her earlier pieces that she's written.
To me, and this is me as a non-guitar player, this type of playing, just like on the TTNG stuff, I mean, this is more involved than that.
Yeah.
But like, to do this kind of stuff on an acoustic to me is more impressive. And maybe there's no basis for that other than just
why do you think
what
that?
I think.
It's done, by the way.
It is.
Little effects pedal.
Yeah.
It just kicks in right at the end.
What is my reasoning? Again, I'm not a guitar player, so like maybe just because I imagine more of that style of playing on an electric. Isn't acoustic like a little more difficult to get around onto and stuff, just because like the thicker strings and
they're not thick. Well, they can be thicker.
Yeah,
it really just
something like a
depends on
steel string does, like obviously, but like
but you're running like
guitar.
So.
I don't know.
They're all three are different. So on a steel string, so steel string is like the hardest to play as far as like your fingers pressing down.
Right.
And they are thicker, but not by much.
Okay.
So the high string might be an 11, well, maybe not an 11, but like a 12 or 13, where I use 10s.
Okay.
And that's the diameter of the string, and it's like 0.012 of an.
Is it millimeters?
I think it's actually inches.
Oh.
So it's that small, like the diameter is so small. And it's like, well, that's not that, like 0.011 versus 0.012. Not really that big of a difference. Like you might notice, I guess once you get into like 20, like 10 to 20, that's a big difference. You can see it and feel it. And then once you get up, even like on a 20, it might be then wound. So it's a string with another string wrapped around it. But even then, the way she's playing is a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs. So, and she's finger picking as well. I don't really think it's.
So you tell me then, what is it easier on any of them? Is it harder on any of them, or is it all just the same? And I just don't know what I'm talking about.
I think it depends on the guitar player.
Okay.
Because for me, like think about piano players. They can't really get used to an instrument.
Yeah, you're constantly almost playing a different instrument all the time.
Yeah,
especially if you're on the road.
Yeah, what's your primary instrument? Not besides vocals.
Saxophone.
So
I'm
like,
gonna have my saxophone with me.
Yeah. So you have your saxophone, and like, could you go to another saxophone and like feel it like would it feel different?
Yes.
Like I can't play the same as on that one over there.
Yeah, that could be because and this is where pianos come in as well. Like the action can be different, the tension can be different. With saxophones too, like from brand to brand, or even like the same brand but a different model. Like the keys are laid out ever so slightly different, or like set up a little higher or whatever. Mouthpiece, reeds, like all that stuff goes into it. Even ligatures that you put on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
So the reason that I bring that up is there are people who feel that way of just like I got to play this guitar, right? So when you say classical versus steel string versus nylon,
I might as well be talking about
that's three different
a
instruments,
Yamaha
right?
to a Jupiter to a
Sure.
to a
Now,
Yamaha saxophone or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where because I'm not really that super technical about it, but I mean there are. Because I just got a new guitar, and it's a 24 fret guitar. I've like never had a 24 fret guitar. It's like it's weird to me, but it doesn't
more or less frets than usual.
It's more.
Okay.
So most of my are 21 or 22 frets.
Okay.
And that would be on electric. On an acoustic, that's a different story. But most of them are the same. Like as far as my electrics, like you can get up to the same amount, except for this guitar. And I bought this guitar so I could actually like reach certain things.
Higher things?
Yeah.
Is the neck longer? Or do they just put more frets?
It's just more frets because they're I don't want to say there's two types of guitars, but like there's kind of at the beginning of electric guitars, there were two types of guitars. There was a 25 and a half inch scale length, and that's from the nut to the bridge, the distance from there. So your 12th fret would be right in the middle of that. And then there's a 24 and a quarter. So, it's like an inch and a quarter off of that. So it's like not a huge difference, but as you get further up, your frets become closer and closer together. Right. And like that kind of affects it. Now, as I said, I'm not super technical about anything. Like I'm playing bar chords that like I'm not trying to get in weird positions and really stretching my hand out. So like no guitar is really that much different to me. Like you play differently on a different guitar because it sounds different.
Right.
Which is the reason I have more than one, is because they all sound different. So if I play this through this amp, it's going to sound different. So it's going to, that feedback type of thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing through it with an effect and you're just like, oh, I'm going to react to that effect.
Yeah.
So there's like a response to it. But I think that maybe you think that there's a difference. Like it's harder because you're a saxophone player and you think, oh, going from this instrument to this instrument, it's different. But for me, I don't think it's that different.
Maybe too, because like I'm just used to hearing like, I don't want to say bad guitar players, but just like amateur guitar players, and you get like a lot more fret noise or string noise and other things like when you're moving around from chords to chords and different things. And so but I don't hear that on her stuff and similar things.
Yeah,
much. And so maybe that's what I'm hearing too is like, oh boy, they're eliminating all that stuff that I usually hear from more amateur players. And
yeah, but there's like other ways of just things. Like you could put a sock on the guitar, and
then someone knows not to come into the guitar because you're busy.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're doing a lot of tapping and a lot of open string stuff, so if you hit the string, you're stopping it, but on both sides of the string, those are vibrating.
Right.
One is being picked up by a pickup on electric. One is being forced out of the sound hole, so one's louder, but you still get that extra sound on the other side. So you put a sock around it to dampen the strings.
Interesting.
That's like the poor man's version of it, but they actually like make stuff now that is like it's what is it? I forget what it's called. Fret wrap. It's just fret wrap. It's nicer to look at than a sock. Sure. But what's that bass player that's like all colorful and he has a sock on the top?
Neon.
Yeah. So I don't know for a fact, but I think that the reason he has a sock on it is because like it's going to deaden the string, but like let me make it look cool.
Yeah.
Right. Like let me
sock
be
on your guitar, but make it fashion.
Exactly.
Basically. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. I don't know. I just when I hear stuff like this on the acoustics, for some reason I just
you have less to hide behind. Because,
I guess. Well,
because
like,
on electric, you could put a gate on it,
right?
and it's gonna just anything. And you can also put a compressor on it.
Yeah.
Where an acoustic is just that's the instrument.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Well, there's not nothing you can do with it. But it's
Yeah.
like if you're trying to be like on the acoustic,
Mm-hmm.
where the electric that's behind me, you can go through a ton of pedals, and it's
Yeah.
like it's going to make it sound differently.
Yeah.
And you can do stuff
Yeah.
where,
Cool. Thanks for the guitar lesson.
yeah, that'll be $30.
Charge of the podcast. Well, thanks for listening, folks.
Yes, and we'll see you next week.
Tell lots of folks. Tell people, share, like, subscribe.
Oh, you sound like you don't want people to do that.
Yeah. I do.
Tell,
I thought you had more to say.
yeah.
Like, subscribe, share, do all those things.
Tell
it happen.
people.
Join the Discord.
We would love to have 100 listeners per week, per episode. That'd be awesome. We got like 20. So tell more people. Bye, y'all.
Bye.